I remember you back in 2012 when you said you're a keynote speaker and people are like, you're kind of speaking with its slang and vernacular that's academic and business. It'll never work. You're a little bit too loud and you ask people to clap and jump up. If I quit, my family can't be where we are today. It was like I had no other choice but to continue forward. I could withstand the rising of the tide and the low tide and the high tide and the storms of life. I tried to just make sure I didn't drown. Untraditional paths to success is actually a commonplace for success. For things to change, you must change, and if you don't change, nothing changes. But if you do change, yeah, we can whine, complain, and blame about politics, where we are in the economy, about your boss or about your job. But when you change and level up and become better from the inside out, then everything will change for you. There's money in the transaction, but the wealth is in the relationships. When we focus on transaction and money alone versus a genuine care and concern for the service or the product that we put out, and Polynesians can do this, man. We really can.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nesian News. Our mission is to connect and inspire our Islander community by sharing Islander success stories with everyone. So stay tuned for the full episode. We got Coach V on the show. Coach V, he's usually the one doing the interviewing, so this is going to be kind of different. First connected with him had to be like a year and a half ago, and we'll go into that whole story. But before we get into that, Coach V, tell us about you, who you are, what you're up to.
Thanks for having me. It's been such a pleasure. Viliami Tuivai, born in Tonga, grew up in Pomona, California, graduated from Ganesha High School in 1994. Dean, wow, that's a long time for you, right? You're like, wow, that's way back.
Bro, I was born 2004.
Yeah. Graduated 2001 from UC Davis. Got into collegiate football for a while as my first professional career. Started keynote speaking, and then now keynote speaking, success coaching, life coaching, author of the book Life Champion, and the host of the Coach V show on Island City. Married with two kids. And we reside in Northern California, brother.
I want to dive more into how you were born in Tonga, and then you eventually somehow ended up here in the States. Tell me about that story and how you ended up out here.
Came here on vacation. Parents pretty well off back in Tonga. From Kolomotua, Mongaone, and Hapai is from where my dad's from. Came here on vacation, and my parents decided right away that we would file for being citizens here, and we ended up staying. They thought that this would be a great place to bring me up, and grateful that they did so. I've been here since 1979. Pomona, California is what I would call where my childhood home from 85, then upon leaving in 1999 to go to school. And now residing here in NorCal.
Right on. And then growing up out in NorCal, because there's a pretty good poly community out there. How's the community?
There is a rich and deep Polynesian community, both in Southern California and here in Northern California area. I think the whole West Coast from Seattle on down to Las Vegas area, San Diego. Grew up in the Tongan Methodist Church. I was around the Tongan wards a lot with activities nights and things like that, but been around Polynesians for a very long time and grateful that I've been able to be around those folks for so long.
Yeah. There's a story. I'm super curious if you have one of these. When I first came out from Tonga, because I used to live there as a kid, I came out here to the States, I tended to hide away my culture. Like I didn't wear it on my sleeves like how I do now. And it wasn't until I saw the Matema Tonga team out and they were killing it in rugby. I was like, dang, I am Tongan. And from that point forward, I was like, okay, I'm wearing it on my sleeve from now on. Do you have a similar type of story of how you came to yourself and your identity being Tongan?
Yeah, I think being Tongan from Whakame to all the youth days, the quotas in the Tongan Methodist culture is really what I lived ate and breathed when I was younger. I think my identity has really transformed to not only being a Tongan American, but an American that comes from the island of Tonga in my professional years. Plus the fact that I claim every Polynesian. I mean, if you're successful and you're Polynesian, I claim your ass, whether you know me or not, right? From Dwayne Johnson to, as of really recently, the Talanoa Hufangas, the Matematonga, all of the Olympic athletes that have done very well. I really claim those guys, and it's a really dynamic personality. I think we all have as Polynesians. My wife is half black, half Palangi, but yet we really are a mixed racial relationship, and then but we allow the kids to also form their identity. But I love our Polynesian community. I love being Tongan. It's something that I don't think about as much in the professional realms, but then definitely in funerals, in weddings, and birthday parties is something that I love reconnecting with D.
What do you think it is about the culture, about what we teach, that we can bring into the professional world and really stand out as a people?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I think a lot of times we feel that there's no real relevance or cultural value that can be dispersed or deployed into the marketplace that can bring professional level up and professional development and add value to the marketplace. And I really do believe that our oral traditions and our ability to communicate on a high level, not just for the value proposition of gaining business or money or transaction, but the ability to really build organic relationships that are real, and our ability to communicate is something that when you're out of the Tongan or the Polynesian community, that there might be a hesitation in. But when we plug into the real talk, the almost banter and the cutting down of one another and being real in your face, and then using food as part of our connection with other people. I think there's a real vibrancy and cultural connection that we can make with the professional marketplace and bring value to that, but then building relationships outside of the Polynesian culture.
Mm. Is there a time in your life, especially in the professional world, where that really helped you out, like this ability to connect with people and just get to know them?
Yes, I think all the time. My last presentation in Park City, Utah, was to a title and escrow company that was just coached by Disney before that. I think is really our ability to keep it real, and that we wear our, you say our identity on our sleeves, is that we really wear our emotions, our genuine care and concern for other people on our sleeves. And that really is a great connection where people feel like we keep it real, we keep it 100. But at the same time, how Polynesians are, whakapo'uli is the term in Tongan for being mad or angered, and that really is like total darkness, nighttime. We can also go that route, and it gets negative real quick, right? But when it comes to genuine care and concern, love and affection, and the willingness to help and want to be a positive force in the world, I think all good people do that, and I'm very proud of the fact that that is a dominant characteristic of Polynesian folks.
Yeah. I want to kind of transition now into when you were growing up. Did you ever envision yourself being this success coach, this life coach? And how did you end up like thinking through in college and football? Like, tell me about that journey.
Yeah, well, first off, I really thought I was going to be the Tongan Bruno Mars, in entertainment and singing. And then after figuring out that, professional football, graduating at the age of 27 from a Division II powerhouse, which was UC Davis, that, I didn't even run for senior pro day or any of that. I just wanted to get into coaching. I didn't foresee myself being like this, and the only reason I really believe this, that I am the success coach or the national keynote speaker or sought after speaker or coach in the professional realm and in the corporate world is because of God's unmerited and undeserved favor. Um, I went and spoke one time in a St. Luke's Health Systems event as a football coach, as a keynote for free, and I stepped off stage and was blessed to get a standing ovation and being offered thousands to speak for minutes. So this isn't something that I planned. It's God's divine grace, and I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to be in the situation that I am today.
I want to pause there because you mentioned while you were talking that you graduated at 27 years old. What was the journey in college? How did that happen?
Yeah, it's a 4 year or 5 year degree, right? It took this Tongan brother a lot longer for that to get done. And so, yeah, as a 22-year-old sophomore, I was the oldest cat on the team. I ended up pausing my academic career um, to work with my late father, Viliami Tuivai, who just passed this Easter. And he had a mobile upholstery service, which is the entrepreneurial spirit that I carry with me today, and running an ad in the Penny Saver and doing furniture and gym equipment out of the garage, and then it became a mobile service. So I took a few years off and just try to help the family. My brothers and sisters were all younger and still in school, and I felt that that was an obligation of mine, that I wanted to help the family. And then upon just asking my dad one day, kind of in tears, Dean, hey, what do you think about me like going back to school? I could play 2 years, and I have a red shirt at Division II, and he just cried. We're crying in the parking lot of a family fitness, like in Pasadena, California, and I started the process of going back to school, and that's how I became that. And I almost didn't even want to graduate after football season of my senior year, but I'm glad I finished strong and I finished off, and it was the first person in my family to get a college degree.
Wow, congrats. That's awesome. That's one of the coolest things I think about seeing other people doing all these cool things. Cause I got a cousin and he's also starting college. I think it's like a 27-year-old or something. But it's cool to see these untraditional paths into college and seeing that as a way to like, okay, there's a way forward. There's a way to get into these places, even though it's untraditional, so to say.
Yeah, yeah. Untraditional paths to success is actually a commonplace for success. You look at all of, the entrepreneur spirit that started in garages, here where that turned into Apple or turned into this, and all started in some garage, right? I think success is something that is not normal, and it's something that's very hard to achieve. But if you really do lock into the things that are really important, able to prioritize those things, it can happen anywhere, but especially here in the United States of America. There's not a lot of places in the world that is conducive to effort because, there's so much racism. There's so much, the starting line is not the same for a lot of different people, but yet the people who succeed, and we can talk about that all day, right? There's so many untraditional paths as well as traditional paths, because not all of us, can get a scholarship to Northwestern like Dean Wata did. It took me 5 years just to get onto a college campus. So good, kudos to you guys who also do it the right way and have really focused and been able to optimize your opportunities the way you have as well, D.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been awesome because coming here has just opened up so many doors. One of the doors that I think has definitely happened is this door of LinkedIn. Because before coming out here, I had no idea what this thing called LinkedIn was. But then I started using it and hopping on it and reaching out to random people. And then I eventually connected with this guy called Viliami Tuivai. And I was like, what the heck? And so we connected on a call, just a cold message. What were you thinking as you got this cold message from LinkedIn, and then we hopped on a call, and eventually it just blossomed into our relationship now.
Yeah, connecting and engaging, getting out of your comfort zone is something that is not, to me, it's not too hard. I'm a very, people talk about being a people person, but a lot of people always are looking for transaction and benefit to connect with someone. So, ironically, I've really created a lot of relationships and gained a lot of clients. And I really don't know what to expect. And when I hopped on with you, really, I was just really impressed to meet a Tongan who got a scholarship out of Las Vegas and at Northwestern University, one of the premier institutions of higher education in the world. It was really pleasantly surprising, Dean. Just real talk, right? And we didn't want anything from any each other. We just decided that, hey, oh yeah, you're doing this. Well, let's start collaborating this way. That has gotten us to where we are today. And I think a lot of very successful relationships in business and life and leadership are again organically connected that way. Where LinkedIn has become that connection platform. And I'm really grateful to have met you that way, D.
Yeah. And more on that, we continue to work with each other, I'm curious how you've been thinking through like working with other Polynesians or Pacific Islanders that are in the space. Maybe it's like professionally, maybe it's just helping them out. What are you thinking through like giving back to the community in that type of way?
Yeah, I think I'm always looking for opportunities that way to give back to our Polynesian people. And then also, I've been very open just to connecting with people in general that shares that same vibe, vibration, same real eagerness to try to help others. Because I really do believe, first and foremost, that if serving people is below you, that high level leadership and high level success is above you too. But I am very intrigued into connecting with other Polynesians and people that are really rocking and vibrating on high levels of success, having great family connections, and they're about focusing on their marriages and growing amazing children to become successful in what they do. I'm really attracted to that. And not just because of the fact that if they are Polynesian, that's a bonus, but in general. But when it is, it's very unique to be able to connect with Tongans and Polynesians and islanders that come from the Pacific Islands. And I would be so welcoming to opportunities to collaborate and serve people of our Polynesian and Pacific Island and Asian Pacific Island heritage.
Yeah, tell me more about the work that you're doing at Island City. I want to learn more about this Island City and also the nonprofit that you're building.
Yeah, so Island City with Joey Kenga is his government name, as he says, and Ammon Green. I mean, they're really building a media company. And really, in there, I just feel like in that platform, I'm going to get in where I fit in, create relationships, and just serve as Q and Ammon feel that's appropriate. There's a lot of work to be done, but the real mission of elevating and helping people get more visibility in terms of that are Polynesian, Islanders, Chamorro, Samoan, Tongan, Hawaiian. I mean, I think that's just something that we all need to help with in any way that I'm able to serve them. I love doing it. And then the Coach V show is sponsored and supported by Island City, in which we fly down there and record the Coach V show, personal development radio show. And that has really added value to my platform and what I do. And then the nonprofit that I run, Invictus Youth Foundation, is all about providing athletic platforms to youth for free in the sports of volleyball, basketball, football, soccer, snowboarding, and skiing.
Wow. So we just did a crash course on like who you are, how you grew up, what you're doing now. I'm so curious. At what point did you finally decide to jump ship and be like, okay, I'm actually going to do this and go out and turn this vision that I have, this idea that I have in my head into reality and build the thing?
Yeah, I oftentimes I'm getting honored for API in my city in a couple of Wednesdays for API month. And people are always like, well, what was the success and what drove you? And I really come down to the basic core of why most people are successful in what they do is because you have no other choice. When you're an entrepreneur, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you never quit. You started. I remember you back in 2012 when you said you're a keynote speaker." And people are like, "You're kind of speaking with its slang and vernacular that's academic and business. It'll never work. You're a little bit too loud, and you ask people to clap and jump up. And when I say things, right, and really, there's no real superhuman strength in it. If I quit, my family can't be where we are today, right? It was like I had no other choice but to continue forward and continue to do. So the jump ship thing was really just trying to make sure that I didn't drown. And once I started to build some platforms, I could stay above water. I could withstand the rising of the tide and the low tide and the high tide and the storms of life. I really figured out how to build processes and build relationships that would allow my profession, the income to come in, and really the attraction of other business and other opportunities. So yeah, I didn't really jump ship. I tried to just make sure I didn't drown things. Hashtag real talk, right? And that I was able, like my wife, who was a very successful nurse in her field, is be a partner that's also doing well, bringing income, and then us together raising a family that's not just trying to survive but could thrive. D.
Mhm. And when you're working with all the clients that you have, and they're trying to balance all the things they have going on in their lives, work and school, all the other things, with raising a family and being there for their spouse, what do you think is the biggest hurdle that they got to overcome in their mind, in their relationships, and what they're doing?
Yeah, I think the biggest hurdle in terms of this notion of work life balance, which I remind my clients that I have never experienced a 50-50 work life balance in terms of my personal time, my mentality, my spirituality, what I do for my finances, what do I do for the community, what I do for my kids, for my spouse. There's never an equal balance of all of those things, but there is prioritizing. And if you're all about what it is that you're 100 for all about, then you would schedule accordingly to an annual calendar and a daily calendar that would allow you to prioritize and focus on the things that bring the most value to you economically and within your spirituality, community wise, and your family. So
Mm.
that's the number one thing that ultra professionals that are high performing in their industry, in which I coach, and are the most high performing in their industries in which I coach, is their ability to prioritize the things that matter and focus less in terms of their mental time commitment, resources commitment, or their mentality on the things that do not bring value to their life.
The deeper question, I think, with that, like now I know that I need to prioritize. The thing is, I have these two things. How do I know how to prioritize?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? Because well, so in the medical field, if you can't breathe, nothing else matters, right? So that's the air pipe and making sure a person can breathe. So most of the time we feel like our finances are the ultimate thing that must always be the priority. And then what happens is that you see that the neglect that you have for other aspects of your lives becomes a cancer and becomes detrimental to your profession, to your family, to your marriage, to raising your kids, your community value and your community standing. And as those things, people usually realize after the fact that they've neglected something, was blindsided by that in life, leadership, business, sports, or their relationships. And then they realize they need to do a better job of that, right? But I think the first things we do neglect, right, is our health, our family, going to church, all for the things it is that we feel is a priority. Life, leadership, and business will teach us whether we want to or not by the choices it is that we make, and then realizing that we should prioritize the things that should get more focus than other things that do not bring value to our life.
Tell me more about this event that you got going on and how you're teaching people exactly what you're talking about, how to prioritize.
Yeah. Empowerment to Success is a conference that I'm launching. I'm going to bring it to all the cities that we can bring it in the world, but we're starting here in my hometown of Elk Grove, California. It's going to be Friday, September 6th. It's the Empowerment to Success Conference. And we'll be talking about that. Not just the fact of like what you should do, but how you self-grant yourself permission and authority to do, become, and achieve what it is that you want in life, leadership, and business, and how you claim your rights and take control of your own life. Success in life, leadership, business, sports, being a parent, relationships is an inside game with outward performance and results. It's going to be an all-day conference that starts on Friday morning, and it'll go into the evening hours at 8 p.m. stop with a VIP mixer and a connection community time at the end of the evening.
And what would you say would be like, if someone went to the event and they only got one thing away from it, what would you say is the one thing, the one big lesson that they could take away and then hopefully apply it to their lives?
If there is a mechanism, apparatus, or way to change your life, is that you change. For things to change, you must change. And if you don't change, nothing changes. But if you do change, yeah, we can whine, complain, and blame about politics, where we are in the economy, about your boss or about your job. But when you change and level up and become better from the inside out, then everything will change for you. And that's the deal that we're going to be talking about. So what does that mean? That means choices. That means having a schedule. There's so many things with that. But once you realize the power that we all have within us to change and manifest the type of success, the type of relationships and community impact within our culture and the communities in which we live, everything changes for the better for us. And not because I say so either, Dean, right? This is what life, leadership, and business tells us all.
If you could put up a sign, and this sign goes up on every Pacific Islander home, all the Tongans, Samoans, Chamorros, all of us, we would see this sign every single day. What would you put on that sign and why?
Yeah, there's money in the transaction, but the wealth is in the relationships. When we focus on transaction and money alone versus a genuine care and concern for the service or the product that we put out, and Polynesians can do this, man. We really can. We're really wired to be either the warrior in defense and in threat. It's like we're going to war. And the best side of us is our ability to connect and create real organic, valuable relationships with other people. That would be the sign that we would hang out there. And then in some terms, most of us know it here on the West Coast as aloha, ohana, family, relationships, community, where really it's COMM lowercase with unity, all being in capitals. When we learn how to take how we thrive as a community and as family within our culture and bring that to the marketplace, that is a big time differentiator in how we provide the services, how we create our products and deploy it into the marketplace and attract the value it is that we used to chase to now be attracted and to chase us.
That's awesome. If someone, they want to go to this event and they want to support what you're doing, Coach V, how could they do that?
Yeah, go to coach-v.com. And in fact, right now, we're going to start launching our early bird pricing. It'll all be on coach-v.com. Go to the Empowerment to Success. You'll see this big conference deal on the website that says Empowerment to Success. It'll take you to a landing page, empowermylifeandbusiness.com. And there, hey, we would love to work and collaborate and serve you at that event. And if you need anything from me, please reach out to me via social media at Coach Viliami on both Instagram, Facebook, and on LinkedIn.
Coach V, it was great talking with you.
No, thank you for having me, brother. Aloha, one love, ofa'atu, all the usos, the aingas, and everybody out there. Thank you so much, Dean.
Hey, you made it. Thanks for listening to this Islander success story. If you want more of these, head over to Nesian.news. Sign up for our newsletter. We'll send you an email every single time we put an Islander success story out there. And remember, our mission is to connect and inspire Islanders around the world.